Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today's video is going to be all about some disappointing products. I like filming these videos, even though they're a little bit more on the negative side. I just feel like I share my favorites and things that I love so often. So it's really nice to be able to share products that didn't work for me for whatever reason. So I have some high-end products, some affordable products, and they were just disappointing in one way or another. So I thought I would share them with you guys in today's video. And I really do love reading the comments on these videos. So leave me a comment below letting me know if you've tried any recently disappointing products or things that just didn't work for you. So the first product is from Smashbox, and Smashbox is one of my favorite brands. I get a lot of questions when I talk about Smashbox because I only purchase cruelty-free products, and I feel like their cruelty-free status was a little bit confusing the way they worded it, but they have been verified as cruelty-free from some of the big cruelty-free bloggers. So I'll link an article in the description box below if you guys are interested. Anyways, they are really well known for their primers, and I love their primers. Their primer water, their primerizer are two of my favorites, and then I just enjoy like their photo finish primers in general. When they released the iconic primer stick, I was really excited because at the time I was using the Milk Makeup Blur stick and I loved it, and I really enjoy Smashbox as a brand, so I couldn't wait to try it out. But you guys, this product let me down. It's so weird because when you apply it to your skin, like I'm applying it to the back of my hand, it looks like it mattifies the skin. It kind of blurs any texture, any fine lines, any pores that you might have. So it looks like it's going to be a promising product. And I felt like my foundation went on really nicely on top, but my skin got extremely oily, just after a few hours. And it's weird because I can use really hydrating primers or I can use really mattifying primers, and both of them kind of work to keep my skin from getting too oily, but this product really enhanced my skin's oiliness. So if you guys have oily skin, I would totally recommend skipping this one. I just felt like it didn't really do anything for me. At first, it looked like it did and my foundation went on nicely, but that's where it ended. My foundation looked horrible after just a few hours, and by the end of the day, I was like a complete oily mess. Even if you have dry skin, I don't think I would recommend this product to you just because they have so many good hydrating primers, like the primer water, the primerizer, the primer oil. So I just kind of feel like this one doesn't live up to Smashbox quality, or at least what we've come to expect from them when it comes to their primers. So it was a little bit of a disappointing product for me, and I just would recommend skipping over it completely. I did try out another face primer, but this one was a more affordable option from e.l.f. Cosmetics. It's their Lock-On Face Primer. I was so excited about this. I talked about it in an e.l.f. haul, and I could not wait to try it out because it sounded like the perfect primer for my oily skin. I don't know that I have too many affordable primer favorites. In general, my favorite primers are a little bit more expensive, so I've been looking for a good drugstore option, but unfortunately, this was not the answer for me. When I first applied this primer, I thought it was going to be perfect for me because it is a sticky primer. When you apply it, it feels really tacky on the skin, so I kind of thought that it would grab onto my foundation and hold it into place really well, but it wasn't sticky on the entire face. It was like sticky in some parts and then it dried down in other parts, so I could not get an even foundation application at all with this product. I felt like maybe it held onto my foundation okay, but at the same time, my skin looked really oily throughout the day as well. So it just was a fail for me. I feel like if my foundation's not going to go on evenly in the beginning, I guess I don't really care that it stays in place all day long because it doesn't really look even or natural or smooth, if you guys know what I mean. So I just felt like this primer was a fail. They have other primers that I like better. They have one that comes in like a yellow and white tube that's a little bit more moisturizing that I like, and I just felt like this one was not worth the money. So I did talk about these in my e.l.f. haul update, but I wanted to share them in this video because I know not everybody watches my dedicated e.l.f. videos. So I wanted to mention, what are these even called? They don't have the name on them, but they were first marketed as holographic highlighters, and now I think they're just kind of calling them, I don't know, like they're highlighter duos, but they're colorful highlighters that have like a really pretty iridescence to them. The problem with these is that they are so subtle, and I like subtle highlighters every once in a while. I guess I'm not really the biggest fan of like a blinding highlight. I like something in the middle, but these are so subtle that I felt like they didn't really show up on the skin. They felt extremely chalky when I applied them, and that's like my biggest pet peeve when it comes to highlighters. I want them to be really smooth and even, and the problem is that there are so many good good highlighters at the drugstore. There are so many good affordable options, and I just felt like these were not as good. I also got like hard pan immediately on the product after I used it like once or twice on pretty much all of them. So I just felt like the formula was a little bit weird. It wasn't as smooth or seamless as I wanted it to be. You can build them up, but honestly, the swatches I'm going to show you guys are with my finger, and it takes a lot of effort to even build them up with your fingers. So I feel like if you want to build them up on your face with a brush, it's going to take so much effort, and it's just not worth it in my opinion. I would just say go with like Makeup Revolution, spend a little bit more money on a high-end highlighter. Just save your money on these because they honestly don't work very well. Speaking of affordable highlighters, I actually just decluttered this product because I did film a highlighter declutter. It is the Wet n Wild MegaGlo Highlighting Palette. This is totally one of those products that I just bought without really thinking, and I don't do that very often. I'm pretty good about doing my research, looking up reviews, but in general, I don't just buy products like on a whim, but I love the MegaGlo highlighters, like the singles, so I kind of felt like I knew about this product and I didn't necessarily need to like test it or hear about it first before I purchased it. The problem with this highlighter is I didn't really pay attention to the colors that they chose, and it comes with a blue highlighter, a green highlighter, and then like a cooler toned pink and peach highlighter. So I would totally wear like the pink and peach shades, but I'm just not into colorful highlighters, and I didn't really realize that until after I tried this palette and the e.l.f. Cosmetics highlighters. I just prefer more like neutral colors, so I really haven't gotten any use out of the blue and the green. And then the pink and the peach shades, they're a little bit glittery, and I feel like the pink one in here is pretty similar to one of their original highlighters. So I feel like I just kind of bought this without thinking, so it was my own fault. That's why it's disappointing, not because it's a terrible quality palette. That being said, I do feel like the formula is a little bit different than their original MegaGlo highlighters. It's not a huge difference, but I will say that these highlighters are not quite as smooth or seamless as like their single highlighters. So this might be a good option for you if you like more like unique colors. Like if you want a green highlighter or a blue highlighter and you don't want to spend the money on a higher end highlighter, I would totally recommend this over the e.l.f. Cosmetics duos for sure. But even though it was kind of affordable for what it was, I think it was still like $15. So I regret spending $15 on this because I never wear it. So this was just kind of a disappointing product because I don't wear it, not because it's a terrible product, but I think it just kind of reminds me that I need to think before I just automatically buy something online. So I just filmed a video on the best and worst new eyeshadow palettes, and there were some really good ones, and there were a couple that I didn't really recommend. And the Too Faced White Peach palette was a little bit of a fail for me. A few of you guys told me you really enjoyed this, and a few of you said you really didn't like it. So I feel like this palette might come down to like personal preference, depending on what you look for in your eyeshadows or what colors you want. But for me, eyeshadow palettes are one of my favorite things, and I have so many of them. So when I try out a palette and it doesn't work for me, I'm not usually afraid to let it go or, you know, consider it a fail. I like some of the shades in this palette, but the majority of them just did not work for me. I felt like they just kind of blended away on my skin tone, the top two rows especially, other than the shade Sweet Fig and Glistening Peach. Like the top two rows pretty much did not show up on my skin tone at all. The mattes in this palette are extremely powdery, and I feel like I can usually overlook a little powderiness if they're very blendable and they still have good pigment to them, but I feel like these are so powdery so they almost blend away on my skin, even like the darker shades in this palette. And there aren't a lot of super dark shades in this palette, so if you're a fan of like a super subtle palette, maybe you'll enjoy it. But at the same time, I feel like there are so many better options out there that you could spend your money on that I don't know that I would really recommend it. I really enjoy the metallic shadows, but the metallic shadows only make up 25% of this palette, so I feel like the majority of the palette is pretty low quality, especially compared to a lot of Too Faced recent palettes. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me, but again, I know a lot of people enjoy it. So let me know what your thoughts are on this palette in the comments below because I'm kind of curious. So I had to include this hair product because I was so excited about it. I featured it in an Ulta haul. I think it was like either in December or January. It's by the brand Pacifica, and I've been wanting to try more of their products because they are a cruelty-free brand. I don't know if the entire brand is vegan, but a lot of their products say that they're vegan on them, which is great. So this is the Invisible Powers Dry Shampoo, and I love powder dry shampoos. I've been using them over like aerosol dry shampoos for a pretty long time at this point, just because I feel like they do an even better job at making my hair look clean. It adds a little bit of volume and they last so much longer than like the regular traditional aerosol cans. So the first problem with this product is that it comes out like orange tinted, which is so odd to me. And I think if you have lighter hair, you're definitely going to want to avoid this product because it will be extremely obvious on you. I have dark hair and I felt like I was able to rub it in and it didn't look too obvious, but honestly, like the majority of my hair, like the length of my hair has reddish like tones to it. And if it was that obvious on my hair, I can imagine if you have any other color hair that is really going to be even more obvious. The second problem is that it has like gold glitter in it, and I have dark hair again, so I feel like gold glitter just looks like dandruff in my hair and it does not look flattering for me. I'm not the biggest fan of putting glitter in my hair. I think if you want a glittery hair product, maybe you'll enjoy this, but I feel like with dry shampoo, I wish they would have like put a note on here that it has like glitter in it, which doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, it does say that it is a mineral tone, so it doesn't claim to be like a white dry shampoo or a natural looking dry shampoo, but it doesn't say anything about glitter, and it's so obvious in your hair, so just keep that in mind. A couple of other issues: it comes out way too quickly, so I applied way too much product the first time that I used it, and also it just made my hair really tangly, so I just kind of feel like this product was a fail for me. I had really high hopes for it. It's the first hair product from Pacifica that I've tried, and I'm trying out one of their deep conditioners right now, and so far I really enjoy that one, so I'll keep you updated on that, but I have to say I would not recommend trying this out. And the last product is something that I actually already returned. I talked about it in my Sephora haul update video, but it is the Becca Cosmetics Under Eye Setting Powder. I don't always use a separate setting powder for under my eyes. Sometimes I just go in with my regular setting powder, a pressed powder. I'll use the Urban Decay Velvetizer, but the Becca Cosmetics Under Eye Setting Powder did not work for me. I think it's supposed to be translucent, but at the same time be brightening, but for me it was like stark white under my eyes and it was really obvious. So I think if you have a medium, tan, or deep skin tone, it's going to be even more obvious on you. And then the second problem was that it looked really dry under my eyes, and again, I have oily skin, so that doesn't happen very often, but it just kind of made my under eye area look very dry, and I feel like when that's the case, it looks even older. You want it to just look like the fine lines are blurred, not enhanced, and that product just made me look like I had like a million more wrinkles than I already do. And again, I already struggle with fine lines under my eyes. I just have under eye wrinkles, so I feel like a lot of products can enhance them, and that's exactly what the under eye setting powder did for me. It was drying, very bright, enhanced any wrinkles that I already had, and I felt like it didn't necessarily lock my concealer into place that well. It did lock it into place, but not necessarily any better than any other setting powder on the market. So for me personally, that product was a fail, and you only got a super small amount, so I just would recommend skipping it and saving your money. Okay guys, that is the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that I was able to kind of provide some insight on some of these products if you were wondering about them. Make sure you let me know in the comments below which products were recently disappointing to you so I can avoid them as well, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!